Hey everyone, Brittany here. Welcome to the first episode of our post-grad podcast, the ninth semester with PB&J. So this episode is titled FDOC, just as an introduction to why we're here and what our purpose is. So coming into the fall semester, I guess we started having some new graduate feelings come about, and I started some discussions with Priscilla and Jahari, just processing it all. So we graduated together in the spring of 2023. So it was definitely an easy conversation, and having to know people that have the same upbringing as you, if you will, and some similar experiences coming into the professional world. So yeah, the P in PB&J, if you want to kick us off and introduce yourself to the podcast.
That's right, Big P, Big P. That didn't even sound right. Hey y'all, my name is Priscilla Foreman. I was born and raised in a small little town in Arkansas called Whitehall, Arkansas. If anybody knows where that is, I'm going to send you a gift. That's just all I can say, and I won't ask for your address, so it
Not gift
probably won't.
giving already.
I know exactly. It won't probably reach your address. I grew up in rural Arkansas, born and raised here. Um, Not a lot to do here, and that kind of really impacted my experience of just engaging outside in the outdoors and stuff. That's one of my favorite things, to just go outside and just enjoy the natural world that we're in. Growing up in rural Arkansas, I went to graduate from my local high school. Graduating class was probably around 200 people, so pretty good size for a rural high school. After graduating college, for me, the most important thing was one, getting a bachelor's degree. That was really important to me, and also having as little financial impact on my parents. That was really important to me because my parents were very frugal, and that rubbed off on me. And I, of course, wanted to go to an institution where I was no financial burden to them. So I ended up hearing about my little small liberal arts college in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee, where I ended up going, where I met some of these amazing people, the B and the J,
Woohoo!
and this peanut butter jelly sandwich. When I got to my institution, reminded me a lot of home, really small campus, and I'm sure we're all going to have some lovely insight on what it's like growing and learning on a small campus, because it's just like living in a small town, which I'm used to. At my institution, had an amazing time. I ended up double majoring in history and media studies with a concentration in media production. As I tell the people who it matters, I love writing and I love making videos. And so that kind of combined those two things together. And so, what in the world did I do since I am a recent graduate with a double major in history and media studies? Well, like any other liberal arts college degree, darling, I'm doing nothing related to that. I'm currently working as a social media specialist with a aerospace organization. It's really fun. I did a lot of my background in college and work experience and internships and stuff was doing social medias. So, getting to do what I love, and I really enjoy it right now. And it took a second to get to that point to be able to say that, but as you'll probably hear in this podcast as we continue on, and hopefully you listen on, but it took a lot to get here. But that's who I am and what I'm doing now. And I guess I'm gonna pass it over to the B in this PB&J sandwich, Miss Brittany Hickman.
Yeah, hey guys, it's me again, Brittany Hickman. So yeah, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Technically from Lithonia, Georgia, and if you guys know that song, "Don't Come For Me." Um, yeah, but just kind of the Atlanta metro area in general. I went to a small PWI high school down here, uh, and that kind of influenced kind of what I wanted for college because I kind of wanted the same feel, but I also wanted diversity on the campus way more than my high school. So yeah, I kind of ended up in the same situation as Priscilla. Ended up going to the small liberal arts college in Memphis and met these guys through dinners and lunches, and we ended up clicking. So I'm glad we're still connected post grad. And I ended up majoring in biochemistry and molecular biology. I minored in computer science, and I ended up being a software engineer. So technically, I'm doing nothing with my actual degree right now, but hopefully at some point I'll work on medical devices and stuff like that. So Definitely a STEM girly, and I love it. So yeah, just passing it on to the J.
I'm the J, Jahari. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I too attended a private school in DC. I actually am in the same, I guess you could call it a college prep program.
Oh my God, why did
Uh, that
I didn't
Brittany,
even bring that up, huh?
yeah, because y'all don't want to tell the real story, so I'll tell the real story.
All
So Brittany
right, let's
and
get
I
into it.
technically met in 2016, in summer of 2016, while on a college tour together through said program.
Hmm.
However, we did not know that for quite some time after.
Quite some time.
Quite some time after we met in August of 2019 in what was called at our college, right, the RAC, which the refectory, cafeteria, right, whatever, the common place, the place where you eat meals. And
The
we,
Reddit, by the way, is the name
oh,
that we all call it. I want to give that notice as well.
yes. So that's how I met Brittany, and we, obviously eventually met in the, like I said, in the RAC, and then later found out that we had ostensibly met in 2016 on that college tour. As for Priscilla, I remember the exact moment that I met Priscilla. So I'm gonna tell the story.
Oh God, please watch
It
and listen.
it was June of 2019, and a segment of us were in town for I believe it was 4 weekends that they were doing kind of orientation where folks who were in the class of 2023 could come down and visit the school before we were supposed to come for our official orientation in August. So as we were leaving to go to an activity, a young lady walks up to me and my cousin,
Young lady.
both attending, and she says, "Well, hello there, my favorite African Americans," and the rest is history.
That's right.
So,
That's insane.
by way of meeting both of them, and so I graduated in May with the two of them with a Bachelor of Arts in Africana Studies. And currently, I'm a freelancer, which me is a fancier way to say I'm unemployed. And
Period.
I don't really do anything with my degree right now. I didn't want to be a teacher, so I don't do that. Um,
Teach.
but
Even though
hopefully
he
by the
tricked me
time,
for months.
well, by the time you all hear this episode, I will hopefully have my job secured. So this introduction might
Yeah,
change as
y'all
the season
check in
goes
on
on.
Jahari. Look
Yes,
at you
and
if you're listening.
I will literally put towards a segment that I will tell you all what is happening with my job search, both to kind of keep some morale about myself during the process, and for the people who will experience this when they graduate, to know that it is not uncommon and that it is
It's
not
not uncommon at
you,
all.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
and that it takes time sometimes, and I just want to be transparent about what the job search process can look like. I think that'll be a little different from PMB's journey, and so yes.
We love that.
So to jump in, I think so. We kind of gave a sense of who we were or where we were from. And I think it's valuable to the listeners to kind of talk about what we were looking for when we went to college, right? And then also when we came out of college, I would say where you thought you were headed and how that's changed.
Oh, that's a good point. Do I guess I'll start off since it's been a minute since I said anything. I guess when I came to college, I think the biggest thing I was looking for, I just insight on my personality. I'm a very social butterfly. I don't like conflict, and so that usually results in me having huge um I take every opportunity to interact with people. I think that I have some very intimate relationships with I have more intimate relationships with different people than others in the sense of my friendships with them. Just because I'm just like I say hey to everybody I see. And so when I came to college, I was less worried about the social impact and more so worried about, or I guess less worried, but more so trying to find out more about myself. I think it's one of those things that everybody can tell you pretty. I don't want to say everyone because I don't want to generalize and make anybody feel like that their experience is one of their own. But for me going into college, I knew a lot of what I love doing, but it was very generalized. So if you ask me, I wrote so many different scholarship essays and stuff, and the main common theme in all those essays was I like helping people. And that's very generalized. And there's a lot of different ways that you can help people. So for me, my journey to college was really my mission was to find unique and innovative ways on how I can assist people, how I want to assist people, and what field I want to do that in. And truthfully, how can I make a living off of that? Because I'm not gonna be I'm gonna be completely transparent. When I was going into college, my main thought process was, okay, I'm going to college. I'm gonna be at this place for 4 years, most likely. How am I gonna utilize this 4 years so I can get me, I don't want to say a legit job, but get me a good paying job when I leave?
As a STEMmy, was definitely going into medical school. So that was kind of the path that I thought I had to go. Seeing my aunt kind of do the same thing. Yeah, I just thought that was the way to go. So yeah, took STEM classes throughout college, but then kind of started taking more computer science classes, and I realized that I love that a lot more. And it reminded me of my senior year of high school when I took AP Comp Sci, I think. Yeah, just how much fun I had, coding. So I thought of other ways I can help people and still have that same drive. So yeah, it's really fun that you get to do that at a liberal arts college. Just kind of take classes that you weren't expecting to take and fall in love with things you weren't expecting to love. Uh, yeah,
And
just
to
kind of
that
find your own
point, don't
path.
feel bad if you show up to a liberal arts college and you don't have the definition of a liberal arts
Oh my
college
God,
down pat.
literally.
That's something that us, as I feel like liberal arts students, never really talk about. Like some people, I don't know, some people just really were honed into that when they were going to their college. I was going to who offered me the most money, and when I finally
Yeah,
got to the college I went to, and I was like, "Oh, this is what a liberal arts college setup is."
that is
It's something
so true. Yeah.
it's something you don't think about till it actually impacts your schedule, for example, and you're like, oh, well, I got to think about this. So,
Yeah. It was definitely a different experience from what I thought a traditional college would look like. But I definitely had a lot of fun. Don't be surprised if you get there and you're like, this was not what I was thinking this was. But it's really fun. Just enjoy the ride, I guess would be my advice there. Going out of college, I realize now that yeah, you can help people in a ton of different ways. You can literally do what you love and find ways to uh, enjoy it in different ways. So yeah, that's kind of me. But Jahari, what is your answer to your own question, sir?
Yeah, I think mine is a little shorter. No shade. I
Damn. Hey, not too much.
I think
that was a call out.
I think for me when I went into college, the only thing that was kind of on my mind was independence. And it was also on my mind when we started my college
That's real.
experience. The first thing I said to my college counselor was, I want to be away from home. I don't want to go anywhere on the East Coast. I mean, you can't, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Florida, you cannot convince me to stay on this side of the country. I need to go somewhere else.
Hmm.
So my college search was Chicago, the South, like the side of the South that we went to school, right? The Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, like that part. And then um
Your hometowns.
in Washington. So the the most important thing for me going to college is that I got to explore who I was without um uh, the kind of how do I say this, without kind of the overarching powers of my parents and my grandparents and people who were a little too invested, if I can put it that way, a little too invested, right? In kind of preserving the person that they knew, right? And growing into the person that I wanted to become. So that was me going in. When I got there, things changed, right? Obviously, COVID hit our first year. We were back home for
Don't remind me.
yes, for months. And then we returned in 2021, and things were kind of, normal in that we were on campus, right, for the duration of the school years after that, or the semesters after that. When we got to the end, the almost instantly, as soon as we started senior year, Priscilla can confirm this. I was already kind of having. I'm not gonna say I was having a meltdown, but I was already kind of having.
You were having a crisis of identity if
Yes,
I've ever
I was
seen
having
it.
a crisis of identity because I did not know where things were going to go next. Right, I was expected to continue a policy internship that I had from the year before, but I was like, I hated it. So how do I get somewhere else? Um, and I did find the new internship pretty quickly and transitioned there, and was happier than I was the previous year. However, I was still kind of lost on what my career trajectory would be afterwards because I had kind of realized that even as I saw independence throughout the years that I was um, in college, and that I got some of that, most of what I expected to get out of that, right? I had grown into a person that I was proud of, so on and so forth. One part that I think I neglected was that I did a lot of things that I felt would please other people who had, like I said before, right, an investment in kind of my educational trajectory and my life up to that point, and had kind of abandoned core parts of myself, or who I knew who the things about myself I did not want to change before I went to college. So that was kind of what was coloring my experience my senior year, and I think still now I just still have too much time to reflect on it, and it's still not reflected necessarily in what I do for a living or where I'm headed. So but we're still young, right? So things can change and they will change. And in 5 years, right, if this podcast is still going, or if we do our 5 year reunion, right,
Whew,
of saying where are
Chile.
they now, that hopefully, right, I'll have a different story to tell.
But I think, Jahari, that's a good segue to kind of talk about how I think one point, this episode being so, I think, catchily titled First Day of Class or FDOC, that this is just a message for everyone out there who is starting senior year and you still feel like kind of what Jahari was alluding to, that you're in your last year at this place and you still feel like you don't have everything rain down, we are all going to say collectively, it will be fine. I
It'll be
promise you.
okay.
No, it will. Like, there's so many moments where, like, you might feel like you have one thing figured out and you don't. And this kind of goes to Jahari's point that it's really hard not to compare yourself to others or think about what
Hmm.
other, either your peers or people back home's intentions are for you, or the type of stuff, if you're like me, where my type of family where they are supporting you and they're saying they're happy with whatever decision that you make. But let's be for real, people, everyone has usually an idea what you want to do. And so, like, this is for those people who, timely enough, you're starting your first semester and you already have some of your peers who are like, well, I already got a job offer and it's August, September, you haven't even reached the end of the first semester. It is okay that you're not at that point yet, because I am always a believer that some stuff just takes time and patience, and you would rather want to take your time getting into transitioning into this very important of your life called being a recent grad / young professional. Because if you rush into it, I promise you don't want to set yourself up and lose time that you might have to further grow yourself, whether that's spiritually, whether that's physically, or whether that's even in your career. you know just don't feel bad if you're not where you think you should be at, because I guarantee you we had some peers that felt like they weren't where they're at needed to be at, and they're probably doing better than all of us, if I had to say myself. So it is going to be okay.
Yeah, yeah. And even if you like don't get to where you think you're going to be at a certain point, use that time to develop, like, those soft skills, those hard skills that will make you even better than what you would have been when you applied the
Yes.
first time.
Yes, the
Um,
soft skills and hard skills. My God,
yeah, yeah,
today.
yeah.
Because you'll hear some of these words me and Brittany are saying it on job applications, I promise you.
For sure. Literally for sure. Yeah, don't skip out on the soft skills too, like communication, stuff like that. Easily, like, a lot of people don't have those things. And you don't understand how important it is in the workforce to have those things. So yeah.
Absolutely. Because Jahari could probably allude to this because we had a funny conversation about this the other day. It's a lot easier to learn a hard skill like a technology versus a soft skill where we're talking about things such as teamwork and people skills and public speaking, because a lot of that stuff, that's ingrained into your personality and it takes years to develop like stuff like that. So don't be scared to invest in that.
I kind of wanted to segue into just a thought of when did you guys when did that feeling kind of set in that you're kind of done with classes, at least for us? Like,
Did it
we
ever
weren't
go
going to,
away?
yeah, like, at least for me, I'm not planning on going back to grad school right now. So, like, when did that set in that I don't have to go to classes anymore?
I was one of those people that probably had the hardest time adjusting to, oh, I'm not going to a class no more. Or, oh, plus I was an avid procrastinator, as well, you'll definitely find out in this podcast. Hopefully by not the quality of this podcast, but by me
If
talking
any
about my,
quality episodes are not as quality, it's Priscilla not
it's
editing
because I
on time.
procrastinated. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But some of the most memorable classes I had in my college experience were from those fun classes that were just on these really unique topics that were just had a lot of funny, interesting, and engaging people in it, personalities, whether that's the professor or the students. And so I think the reason why it took me such a hard time to remove myself from it was just, when you're doing it for 4 years in a row, and we had the unique situation where now we did it, technically maybe closer to 2.5 years, and then we had classes over Zoom. So, I don't think it ever left me. I think I have moments still that whenever I see somebody post something about a class, I just instinctively am just like, oh gosh, I'm thinking about deadline. So I know Jahari has a lot more relaxed answer because we have two very different personalities about how we allow classes to affect us in our lives. So I'll pass it over to him.
Yeah, I had quite the
Let me hear this. Let
Oh.
me hear this.
I had quite the opposite experience. I adjusted very quickly. I adjusted very quickly.
And you can get that from his very curt and short answer to that
Yeah, that was
question.
it. He didn't
That's
have
such
anything else to say
that's
after
such
that,
a
honestly.
I haven't been in classes for a minute answer.
Yeah, I don't yeah, no. I don't miss it. I don't long for it. And I definitely not traumatized by it. So it no. It
This
very
man was ready to go.
Yeah,
it
this dude said,
really
I'm
was.
done. Good day.
Uh yeah, I will say, like, I don't think it really hit me until I saw people posting about their first day of classes, and I was like, oh wait, like, I'm not on campus anymore. Like, I'm done. I don't have to do this anymore. Which is so weird.
Or you see the opposite where someone posts something and it's either about like a professor or a student or a department or something on campus, and you're like, man, still the same. Knew this wasn't gonna ever
Literally.
change.
Oh, literally, it's so funny watching the freshmen too. Like, they'll follow you on social media, and I'm like, guys, I'm not even there anymore.
Yeah.
But they'll
You
be
don't
talking about
even
their
know,
first year
champ.
professors. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're in for with this one. So
You don't
sorry.
even know.
Yeah, that's kind of how
Yeah.
it set in for me. So
I don't mean this lightly, but at the beginning of our junior year, which was fall 2021, we essentially were freshmen again. I stand by that
quite
statement.
literally,
But
whole new
it
campus.
was a whole new campus, new environment, new energy. And it was just, it was hard, to be truthfully honest. It was just, it took some time getting adjusting, and some things that we thought were the way we left them weren't. And so,
Mhm.
all this culminates in, okay, junior year. And then here I am walking on campus, seeing these two on campus senior year, and just kind of like, one, having a point of, I mean, truthfully, a little bit of anger because I was mad that we were already here. Because with all that I just mentioned, it went by really quickly. In the moment, it seemed slow, but I know I would love to hear everybody's feelings their first week of classes, how they felt, because I know I personally had a mix of feelings of joy of seeing everybody back, a lot of frustration and anger because it felt like it was gone too quick and I was kind of cheated out of an education, to put it very bluntly. And then finally, just this point of like, well, I got to make it the best this year, the best I can, the best ever.
I was just thinking of how fast, like, kind of how you were saying it, like, how fast the time went. to be honest, and like how I couldn't hang out with, the people that um I had friendships with uh as long as like, normal college life would have been without COVID. So, yeah, I wouldn't say like anger, but it was definitely like kind of a sadness that I didn't get the full quote unquote regular college experience. So, yeah,
As I, this is pretty far back in my mind now.
he glitched.
Jahari said he forgot. He's
I
gonna be like,
Yeah.
I
I
know that I
honestly
was like
blacked out. I honestly blocked out my first week of senior year.
I yeah, I don't know. I don't remember being particularly excited about returning. I think that was probably the most anxiety inducing first week of the whole 4 years.
Okay.
Um yeah, I don't really remember anything else. Okay, so we're about to hit the second semester, right, of the year. There will be a new class of graduates in just 5 months or so.
Whew. Not almost coming to a year.
He
What
always manages to make these so impactful.
what
Mm.
piece what piece of advice would you give someone who's kind of staring down their graduation date now, and is about to, well, by the time this airs, right, will be
February.
probably somewhere in the middle of their semester, right? But
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
kind of advice would you give as they kind of go into the second half, right, of the spring semester?
Just from my experience, I would be more open to just doing everything that you can. I know it feels like you're going to be exhausted and stuff like that, but you're not going to get opportunities like this again. Like you're not going to have, you know, um events just like readily available for you. Um you're not going to have this close-knit community that's like within walking distance of you anymore. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that I miss from it, and I know I didn't take, every opportunity I could have in that last semester. I don't have any regrets, but I definitely would have gone to more events, instead of saying, I'm tired, I'm going to take a nap. Just having those experiences before graduation, super important.
I would second that. Don't be afraid to cut back that last semester. I know myself personally, I cut back on internships that semester. I, I'm sure you'll learn I'm a workaholic. I love working. And
100%.
I actually ended one of my internships early in the fall semester of my senior year. That's a better way to explain it. Because I knew personally that I know how I am where I'm a workaholic. And I knew, to Brittany's point, that I wouldn't be able to embrace just take a moment to recognize that it's the last semester of your college experience. Like, this is it. And as much as it comes with all the stressors of having audit reports on your graduation and all that, like, just take the time, challenge yourself to do something new. I would say us as a friend group, we did a really good job of, we naturally already did a lot together as a friend group, but obviously we all had our different schedules. But we really challenged ourselves as a friend group. When we were going into the spring semester, we said that we were going to try to do at least one activity with each other once a week. And that was kind of whether that was us walking to our campus dining options and eating together, having movie nights, going to organizational meetings together. Like, I would say that really kind of tied the bow on my experiences that I had with my friends during the college experience of investing and making that effort as a group to be like, we're going to try to do this because we know, I think we all really knew the importance of that and knew that, you got to just, it comes naturally that this might be the last time you see some of these people in a minute.
What I would offer, and I've already said this to people, is cherish cherish the moments that you get to have, because they are, unfortunately, right, probably the last moments in this environment that you will have together.
Yeah.
But you want to look back on your time before graduation fondly. You don't want to really regret not taking the step to, as you said, right, doing the activity, taking the time to hang out with your friends, right, taking the time to go have dinner spontaneously, taking the time to just, chill, or go to the zoo. right? Go skating, go do whatever, right? To have the time that you deserve, right? To bask in just the presence of the people that you like, the people that you love, right? And the people whose company you enjoy and that enjoy your company. Well, I think that's a good place to close. Thank you
Yeah.
all for tuning in to the premiere of our podcast, right? The first episode. This has been brought to you by Brittany's mind and all of our
Please.
skills and capabilities put together. We hope that you join us in 2 weeks for the next episode.
Yeah. See you guys
Thanks
later.
for listening, everybody. See you later.